Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're completely dismantling everything you thought you knew about your own brain, and we're building an actionable, incredibly effective study toolkit. If you've ever felt like your brain is just a leaky bucket, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to explore the true art of memory. So let's dive right in. Have you ever walked into a room and just completely forgotten why you went in there in the first place? Or, maybe you meet someone new, you shake their hand, and literally forget their name 2 seconds later? We've all been there. It's a highly relatable, incredibly frustrating pain point. But I want to shift your mindset right out of the gate here. Don't worry, you are not losing your mind. There is this massive myth out there that memory is just an innate talent, like you're either born with it or you aren't. The reality? Memory is a skill. And just like any other skill in life, it can be developed, it can be sharpened, and it can absolutely be mastered. You just haven't trained it yet. Here's our roadmap for today. 1, the myth of bad memory. 2, the 3 memory pillars. 3, the 2 iron laws. 4, the power of absurdity. And 5, the ultimate study hack. The 3 memory pillars, the foundation of memory. Okay, before we can start learning any cool hacks or tricks, we really have to establish a solid foundation. Our very first pillar is attention. Look, your brain is not a tape recorder. You simply cannot remember what you never truly paid attention to in the first place. If your mind is wandering while someone is talking to you, you aren't actually memorizing anything. You're just hearing noise. We only remember what we are genuinely interested in memorizing. If it doesn't matter to you, your brain just won't hold on to it. The second pillar is observation, and this goes way beyond just casually looking at something. True observation is about noticing specific details. You need to actively register colors, shapes, textures, and even emotions. The fundamental rule here is super simple. The more details you consciously capture, the stronger the memory becomes. And that brings us to the third pillar, association. Honestly, this is the secret sauce. Our brains do not store facts in isolation. Have you ever smelled a certain perfume and suddenly remembered someone from years ago? That is association at work. Here's a fascinating fact from our source material. Thoughts that already exist in your mind remain associated forever. When you remember something, it's really because your brain unconsciously linked it to another fact or experience you already had. Next up, the 2 iron laws, memory rules that govern skill. Now that we've got our foundation, let's shift gears and look at the unbending rules of memory maintenance. First, every skill develops with practice until responses become completely automatic and instinctive. Think about learning to drive a car, right? At first, you had to think about every single tiny move you made. Now, you probably do it without even thinking. Memory works the exact same way. Repetition builds automaticity. The second law is simple but ruthless. Use it or lose it. If a skill isn't applied, it deteriorates. Neglect it long enough and it disappears entirely. Memory is a muscle. Train it daily or watch it fade. Take a second to really let that sink in. This is the absolute core takeaway for maintaining your mental sharpness. It requires daily exercise. Moving on to the power of absurdity, consciously hijacking the system. So how do we exercise our memory effectively? Remember how we said it's hard to remember things you aren't interested in because your brain doesn't see the value? Well, the good news is you can actually hijack this system. You can consciously create associations to lock in any piece of information you want. Let's do a quick interactive visualization exercise together. I want you to literally close your eyes right now, just for a second. Imagine a carpet, but not just any normal carpet. Imagine a carpet made entirely of paper. Picture thousands of paper sheets woven tightly together like a bizarre fabric. Now, keep your eyes closed and picture walking on it. Imagine the sound. It crinkles and rustles with every single step you take. Really lean into the sensory details here. Imagine you can actually feel the sharp edges of the paper under your bare feet. Okay, you can open your eyes. Ridiculous, right? It is completely illogical, but here is the magic. That illogical, absurd nature is the exact reason you won't forget it. If I just told you to remember the words carpet and paper, you'd forget them in 5 minutes flat. But this vivid, weird image, that sticks. The golden rule is that your mental image must be ridiculous. To make this technique truly powerful, there are 4 rules of absurdity you can apply. Rule 1 is disproportion. Visualize things way outside their normal sizes, like that paper carpet being the size of an entire football field. Rule 2 is action. Put objects in motion. Don't just see the carpet lying there, see it flying or dancing. Movement locks memory in place. Rule 3 is exaggeration. Make it neon colored or make that rustling sound absolutely deafening. Exaggeration sticks. And Rule 4 is substitution. Replace ordinary images with something wild. For example, if you need to remember the number 7, don't just picture a 7. Replace it with a boomerang or a steep cliff. Suddenly, it becomes unforgettable. Which leads us to the ultimate study hack: practical application for reading. So, how do we take all these wild mental images and actually use them in the real world? Let's bridge these theoretical rules into a highly practical tool for reading a book or an article. We're going to break down an incredibly effective 3-step reading technique, pulling directly from our source material to solve your study struggles once and for all. All right, here is the formula. Step 1, for every paragraph you read, just choose 2 or 3 keywords. That's it. Please do not try to memorize the whole block of text. Just pick the key concepts. Step 2, apply the technique we literally just learned. Turn those keywords into ridiculous, illogical, exaggerated mental images using disproportion, action, exaggeration, or substitution. And step 3, link those wild images together into a cohesive story. When you do this, you aren't just passively reading text anymore, you're encoding. You are actively building a vivid, replayable movie in your brain instead of just staring at a blur of words. Let's quickly summarize what we've unpacked today. The bottom line is this: your memory is not fixed. It's a trainable skill. The process starts with giving your true attention. It grows stronger with detailed observation, and it becomes absolutely unstoppable when you use association to link facts to vivid, even ridiculous imagery. You now have the actual tools to develop your memory muscle. But to make any of this work, you have to remember the most important rule of all. The eyes cannot see when the mind is not present. So I really encourage you, be present. Be intensely curious about the world around you. And when you really need to remember something, make it weird, make it wild, and make it yours. I want to leave you with this final thought and challenge. Apply those 4 rules of absurdity today. Try it on your very next reading assignment or the next person you meet. In fact, what's the most ridiculous mental image you've ever created to remember something? Think about it and keep exploring just how powerful your own mind can be when you finally start playing by its actual rules. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.